Hi, in this video I am going to show you how to sew the zipper on the top of your bag and then bind it. Now you should have by now sewn your side seams, bound the bottom of the bag. You can also put your tab on the end of the zipper if you want to, or you can do that later. So to put the zipper on the top of the bag, we are using a 24-inch double slide zipper with a wider zipper tape. We find those are much easier to sew in than a regular zipper tape. Now these zippers are available through Wingspan Crafts, and they have the 24-inch double slide zippers. You can also cut down a 30-inch double slide zipper. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to find the center of the zipper. Just fold that in half and make a chalk mark in the very center. Then you're going to open the zipper all the way. Place that, just place it right on top of your bag. The next thing is you're going to take that line that you've drawn across the zipper and you're going to match it. So you're going to fold this over and you're going to match it to your center seam. Now you should have a pin in that center seam so you'll know where it is. So just make sure that that line matches that center seam and pin. You want to pin with the pin head facing up so that you can pull it out as you sew. So you're going to pin that all the way to the side, then you're going to pin all the way to that side. Then you're going to fold over the other side, match it to the other center line, pin to each edge. Now I'm going to remove this green one so that we can see what to do on the ends. So on the ends, what you're doing is you're stopping pinning about 1 inch away from your side seam. Then you're going to angle the top of the zipper down and pin it in place. Bind all the way around with 1/8 of an inch seam. Go all the way around, and I've already done that. And then you can remove your pins. Do not remove the pins that are holding the zipper angled in place. So you just remove the pins on the top if you didn't while you were sewing. So the next step is the binding. So I am going to place one end of the binding right on top of that side seam. Pin it. And then continue to pin the binding. Now, sometimes all I do is I just simply start sewing, and I don't pin that on, but if you feel more comfortable pinning the binding all the way around, you can do that. So start sewing about 6 inches from that side seam so that you have a long tail right here. And you'll sew all the way around. You want to make sure that you're keeping the handles out of the way. So once you've sewn all the way around, you want to stop 6 inches before that seam, overlap, now here's the beginning of the binding where that pin is, overlap the beginning and the end about 1/4 of an inch and clip. So let me show you on one that is finished. So I've sewn from 6 inches before the seam all the way around to 6 inches again before the seam, and that's approximate, so this one looks like it's a little bit more. I've clipped my ends, I've clipped them so they overlap 1/4 of an inch. I've taken those two ends and sewn them together. You want to make sure that you open that seam, fold it back up, and then place it on your side. Go back and stitch all the way around. Once you've stitched all the way around, you can remove the pins that you left in, keeping the zipper angled down. Now I'm going to show you on a bag whose top has been finished. Now here's a bag whose top has been finished. What you're going to do, I'm going to bring this other bag in here for just a minute. You're going to take that binding and you're going to fold it all the way to the inside of the bag so that your zipper is standing up. You want to pin that binding down, and the way I'm going to pin it down is I'm just going to pin very close to that bottom fold. Can you see this? So I'm just going to go around and pin very close to that bottom fold, just so that the zipper is standing up. So you can see how the zipper is standing up. Then, once you have that all pinned on, you're going to sew all the way around, and you're going to do 2 seams. One seam is going to be below the seam allowance. Now, you can't sew through that seam allowance, it's too thick. So you want to be right below that seam allowance, and you want to hug that seam allowance. So stitch all the way around, right below that seam allowance. And then you want to stitch very, very close to the bottom folded edge. Both of those seams will show on the outside of your bag, but that is where you're going to put your stay. So you finished the zipper, you've sewn your binding on, and you are all set for this step.